Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we are going to conclude our countdown of our top 100 board games of all time. Congratulations, you have survived thus far. You didn't yield to my incessant ramblings of bullshit. So just for you are the top 10 games that you could play in the world today. Remember, if your top 10 games aren't on this list, that's because A, we haven't played them, or B, we think they're shit, or C, that they've already been on this list. So grab yourself a pint of vodka and Red Bull. Let's crack on. Bollocks. So number 10 on our list of our top 100 board games of all time is a game that borrows heavily from two other games, one being Crokinole and the other being Carom. Yeah, this is Karuka. Karuka takes the best elements of Crokinole and Carom and blends them into a dexterity game that is based on snooker, hence the term Karuka. Essentially what you're going to have is a snooker table, takes on the form of a lazy Susan. You're going to be able to rotate it. There's going to be pockets on the outside, yeah, and you're going to be arranging discs that are coloured like snooker, or if you've got the variant, pool balls, and you'll be using a white disc to flick the discs into the pocket following the basic rules of snooker and pool. Yeah, this game took me by surprise. I saw it on Kickstarter. I mean, we don't usually do Kickstarter these days, but I saw it on Kickstarter and I thought, fuck me, why hasn't anybody thought of this before? This has got to be worth a punt, right? And I wasn't disappointed. I love this game with a passion. The build quality of this game is such that it's one of them games that you are going to pass down to your kids. And if you haven't got any kids, it's probably worth having them just so you can pass this on, yeah? This game is pretty expensive. It's more expensive than other board games, but it's one of those rare occasions where the initial outlay is actually worth it, because it's going to be something that you are always going to come back to time after time. Yeah, Karuka is an astonishingly simple idea. It's one of them inventions where you think, why hasn't anybody thought of this before? And it's basically replaced both Crokinole and Carom for us. Yeah, Karuka's just one of the best games ever made, hands down. So number 9 on this list is one of our favourite games that we play solo, or I play solo, yeah? It's Hide the Sausage. No, actually, it's Mage Knight. In this game, you'll be taking on the role of a Mage Knight. Funny that, innit? And you'll be roaming around the landscape. You'll be trying to fight orcs. You'll be trying to sack mage towers, building up your levels, gaining more spells, gaining more followers, eventually becoming powerful enough to sack an entire city, right? Mage Knight is essentially a deck building game. As you level up, you'll be adding cards to your deck. And it was one of the first games to use the clog up your deck mechanism, where when you take wounds into your hand, they don't do anything, they just fuck with your plans, and you've got to try and get them out of your deck as quickly as possible. Mage Knight is a game that always feels different and fresh every time we played it. We've had it since it was released, and the first expansion, the Lost Legion, was one of the best expansions ever made. Mage Knight is truly one of those gaming moments that felt really epic, yeah? For that reason, it's been in our top 10 games of all time for fucking ages, really. Number 8 on the list of our top 100 board games of all time is a sprawling 4X event game called Twilight Imperium IV Edition. This is a game that we only play once or twice a year, but when we do, it's an all-dayer type thing. Yeah, we usually start at midday and we finish when we finish. In this game, you'll be trying to accrue victory points by fulfilling different objectives. You'll be doing the usual thing, building units, sending them off, trying to colonize planets, or give you economic influence and political influence, yeah, because there's going to be a round in this game where you're going to be able to vote on different laws or legislation, yeah. Twilight Imperium 4th Edition, we used to like Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition better because it felt like it was bigger in scope and it was more grand, but with the Prophecy of Kings expansion, Twilight Imperium 4th Edition goes head to head with its previous incarnation, yeah. Twilight Imperium always tells a fantastic story. There's so much content in these two boxes that you're going to be weaving a different narrative every time you play it, yeah. I mean, there's about 20 different races that you could play, yeah. And it's one of them games that brings us so much happiness and it's so much fun that if you want a real, true event type game, then this is really going to be your only option. Number 7 on this list is a game that is set in ancient Egypt. It's a war game encourages you to get stuck in from the first turn. It's Kemet. In this game, you will be taking on a role of an Egyptian tribe, and you'll be trying to take control of different places on the board that are going to give you both permanent and temporary victory points, yeah? A couple of standout things about this game is first the way you can take control of mythological creatures. You can take control of the scarab beetle. You've got the sphincter that you can take control of. No, you heard that right. And these directly relate to different types of power tiles. You've got the white power tiles, the black power tiles, the red and blue power tiles, and if you've got the blood in the shit version, the blood in the sand version, then you've got the green power tiles as well, and you can actually use them in the original Kemet, yeah? As we did say, one of the things we like most about Kemet is it actively encourages you to get stuck in and have a tear up straight out the gate, yeah? You can teleport straight into someone's backyard and give them a fucking good slap. But in doing so, you're going to open the floodgates for them to do the same to you. It's got a fantastic combat system, and the Tau Ceti expansion adds even more shit, yeah? Kemet's one of the best war games ever made, and it is never going to leave our collection. Number 6 on this list is a game that is based on a TV show that is based on some books about the Viking invasions Saxon England. It is The Last Kingdom. This is a game by John D. Clare. It's a dudes on the map game. You're going to take control of one of the personalities out of the TV series, whether it be Uhtred, Ragnar, or Father Bjorka, right? And you will be trying to gain influence in different regions and hold the influence in the regions until the scoring phase comes around. The amazing thing about this game is that your allegiances can shift literally whenever you want them to, yeah? Except if you're King Alfred, because King Alfred was a diehard patriot. Yeah. So one round you might be on the side of the Vikings, and then you might be able to switch to the Saxons, yeah? It's got some fantastic card play where you can really mess with other people's plans, yeah? And it uses sort of screen grabs, which has been criticised for, but I actually think it does fit this game particularly well, yeah? It's a real shame that this game has flown under the radar. When I first saw this, I did think it looked like complete and utter dog shit. I liked the TV show so much that I took a punt on it, and I'm so glad I did. It turned out to be one of the best games of the year for me. Yeah, it's that good. So if you've seen The Last Kingdom, even if you haven't seen it, but you've seen the game yet and you thought maybe it looks a bit poo, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you are wrong. And again, I am right. So number 5 on this list is a dexterity game made out of MDF planks. It tries to recreate Formula 1 racing on your tabletop. It's Pitch Car. In this game, you'll take a disc and you will flick it around a track, and that's about it. Yeah, there's a few fiddly rules to do with your car flying off the track, or if it turns upside down, or if somebody else knocks it over. But essentially, that is the game. You're just going to be flicking a disc around a track. There's 1,000,000,001 expansions for this. I think last count there was 9 add-on expansions for this. You've got the stump pack where you can build another level. You've got the usual bridges and stuff, and there's even like a loop-the-loop extension that lets your car fly around in a circle, yeah? I mean, the possibilities with this are absolutely endless. I think there was one sad fuck in Australia or something who tried to recreate the entire Formula 1 racetrack season. I don't know if he or she or they were successful. Pitch Car is one of them games that you're just going to store in a box, because you can't store all in its individual boxes. You're going to stick it in a big tub, and every so often you're going to dig in, create this mad cap track, and go fucking apeshit trying to come first. That's fucking terrible. Fuck me. So number 4 on this list of our top 100 board games of, sorry, I was just thinking that last joke, man, is a game called Monikers, or if you are into the non-boardy version, Time's Up. In Monikers, you have 3 rounds where you will be trying to guess what is on your teammates' cards, right? First round, you can say whatever you like. You can do as many actions as you want. And in the second round, you can only use one word. And in the third round, you can't use any sort of noises or sounds or words at all. Yeah, you can only use actions. Monikers / Time's Up is one of the, if not the best party game that you can get today. Every time we have played this at parties, the people that haven't seen it before instantly say, "Where'd you get it from? How can I get hold of a copy of this?" And then they spread the word, and it ends up becoming a viral sensation, yeah. It's one of them games that will always provide entertainment. It brings those people that don't necessarily like to stand up in front of people and bare their soul. It gets them out of their shell and gets them involved, yeah. So yeah, Monica's time's up. Probably ain't got time to get it before your Christmas binge. You've always got New Year, ain't you? So you go on Amazon, spend 10 quid, get a time's up version. If you're not feeling like a frugal piece of shit, then you can go for Monica's, which is a little bit more adult in its scope. So number 3 on this list is a game that takes place in Victorian England. It's a game called Obsession. In this game, you'll be taking on the role of a wealthy estate owner. You'll be trying to entice unsuspecting rich fuckers into your house to take part in different events, whether it be having a game of lawn bowls, having a nice old feast, or just staring at your huge monument. At various portions in the game, you'll be trying to impress one of the Fairchild twins, or both of them if you're into threesomes, right? And you'll be trying to level up your estate so that you can invite the more lucrative, richer guests later on in the game, right? Session draws on quite a few different games, yeah. It's got like a nice little pseudo rondel mechanism where you'll be moving this little marker around the track to level up, and it uses real photographs of some really fucking ugly people, and it's even got a cat in it. One of the things that I really like about Obsession is the way that the designer actively encourages fans of the game to provide them with input for expansions and various other ideas that are directly incorporated into the game. It's a model that works really, really well, and it's something that other publishers should think about doing rather than sort of being at arm's length, you know what I mean? K-Enter Games have just announced the 3rd expansion for Obsession. It's a character pack that adds even more stuff, and this game just keeps getting better and better every time more stuff is thrown at it, yeah. Obsession is probably the greatest independently produced game that we have seen. Components are absolutely stunning, and the gameplay is always enthralling, yeah. It always tells a fantastic story all the way throughout the game. So if you haven't played Obsession, I recommend that you go out and get it. It's just seen a reprint and you won't regret it, you know what I mean? So number 2 on this list is a game that takes place on a space station that is destined to fall to Earth and explode in literally 15 minutes time. It's Station 4. In this game, you're going to take control of a bunch of characters on a space station that is already doomed. So you've got 15 minutes to complete the objectives that are on the cards of your characters before the space station falls to Earth and explodes. The main thing I love about Station 4 is that any player can control any character on a given turn, right? So if you're the Astro Chimp, for example, and you're trying to get the gun and the artifact off of the ship before it explodes, you're not the only one that is allowed to control the Astro Chimp. Yeah, other players can control him. So you might be trundling around the space station and then somebody decides to stick you in an escape pod, press the self-destruct button on a ship and blast you off into the mesosphere. Station 4 is an absolute masterpiece of a design. It's incredibly difficult to teach. It's incredibly difficult to wrap your head around all the different ramifications of all the different locations and actions, character abilities. But if you can invest a little bit of time to navigate the sea of bullshit that appears when you open that rulebook, then Station 4 is without doubt one of the most innovative, daring and downright exceptional games that we have ever played, yeah? It's fucking awesome. So number 1 on the list of our top 100 board games of all time is a game by Bruno Cathala and Ludovic Malbranc. It is Cyclades, yeah. This has been our number 1 game for fucking years, man. It's been number 1 since we've been doing this, I think. But in Cyclades, it's a dudes on a map game that has the best auction system that has been integrated into a standard board game ever. You're going to be bidding on the favours of gods that will allow you to take actions. But if you get outbid on a specific deity, then you can't go back there until you've bid on another one, yeah. You're going to be trying to get control of 2 metropolises. You do this by either taking physical control of them, or you can ask Athena for help and get a bunch of universities, yeah. So Cadies has got some fantastic expansions. It's got the Titans expansion, which ramps up the combat and aggression in the game. And it's got the sort of mediocre style Hades expansion, which we don't generally play a lot with. We do use the heroes out of it. And then there's a few mini expansions like the Monuments expansion and some various promo cards like the Manticore, which is always chucked in. Have I got bored with Cyclades yet? No, I haven't. I'm actually pretty good at it, yeah. I know that means I'm going to be stroking my ego and probably walk out of this room with a massive fucking boner. But Cyclades has got everything that I need in a board game, yeah. It's got the area control dudes on the map sort of shit. It's got the auction system, which is unparalleled, yeah. Especially when somebody has got no choice but to nosh off Apollo. It's got the mythological creatures that you can hire, yeah, that are going to give you game-breaking special abilities. And it doesn't outstay its welcome, yeah. One of them games where you're just going to be going through the motions and then suddenly spot something on the map and you think, fuck, it's going to be over in a couple of turns unless I do something about this. So yeah, Cadies, I'm sorry to bore you to fucking death, but here's our number one game of all time. Will it be number one next year when the legendary edition finally comes to our door? Who knows what is going to transpire between now and then. It was touch and go, really. I was thinking, well, maybe Station 4 is going to knock this off of its perch, but it just didn't quite manage to do it because where it's so difficult to teach, we haven't managed to get it to the table as much as this one this year, yeah. So there you go. Apologies if this isn't much of a surprise, but at the end of the day, fuck you. It's my fucking list, not yours, right? Go make your own fucking list. So there you go, that concludes our top 100 board games of all time. Did you agree with our list? Did you realise that I forgot to put Memoir 44 in the top 100? If you did, congratulations, you win. And probably Memoir 44 probably would have been around about 8 or 9, yeah? You can't really make 10 videos in like fucking 20 days without making a few errors. And yeah, the halo above my head is probably going to turn to shit, isn't it? All that remains to be said is it's Christmas Day tomorrow, so happy Christmas to you and your family. And if you haven't got any family, then happy Christmas to you. Don't drink too much, don't eat too much, don't drink and drive, don't take heroin and drive, and definitely don't drive off of Beachy Head because you've had 10 videos in which to make that decision, right? And you probably would have done it already. So we're going to take a few days rest, well earned after all this fucking bullshit, and you can come back in the new year for our annual New Year rant, and we'll see where this channel goes in the next 12 months, yeah? So remember, if you're new here, consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. Cheers. Happy Christmas.